What if time travel isn't just science fiction? From eerie photographs to chilling government experiments, these 15 real-life stories might just convince you that bending time is not only possible, but it's already happening. 18. The Mystery of the Man from Taured. In July 1954, Tokyo's Haneda Airport became the stage for a baffling event involving a man who claimed to hail from Taured, a country that doesn't exist on modern maps. Upon presenting his passport, officials were stunned to find that it appeared genuine but listed a nation unknown to them. The man, described as well-dressed with a beard and fluent in multiple languages, including French and Japanese, insisted his country was situated between France and Spain and had existed for over a millennium. However, when shown a map, he grew visibly frustrated, pointing to Andorra and claiming it was mislabeled. Authorities, skeptical and concerned he might be a fraud or spy, detained him overnight in a hotel under strict surveillance. Strangely, by morning, he had vanished without a trace. Even his documents, which could have verified his story, disappeared. This left investigators perplexed as there were no signs of escape. Some theorists suggest the man may have come from a parallel dimension where Taured exists, accidentally slipping into our reality. Others speculate he was a time traveler who inadvertently landed in the wrong era. While skeptics argue it could all be a fabricated tale, the story of the man from Taured remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in modern history. 17. The Enigma of Sergei Ponomarenko. On April 23, 2006, in Kyiv, Ukraine, a man in his early 30s, dressed in vintage Soviet attire, attracted police attention. Identifying himself as Sergei Ponomarenko, he appeared dazed and repeatedly asked, "What year is it?" Claiming to have come from 1958, his story initially seemed delusional, but evidence soon complicated matters. Sergei presented Soviet-era identification and an old camera, both consistent with his claimed timeline. The camera, a rare model no longer in production, contained undeveloped film. When processed, the photos revealed images of Kyiv as it looked in the 1950s, including Sergei himself and a mysterious flying object he claimed caused his sudden displacement in time. He explained that while photographing the UFO, he felt an inexplicable pull, and within moments, he found himself in 2006. Skeptical police sent him to a psychiatric institution for evaluation. However, before further investigation, Sergei vanished from the facility without explanation, leaving no trace behind. Theories range from genuine time travel to psychological distress or even a cleverly orchestrated hoax. Despite efforts to uncover the truth, Sergei's story remains an unsolved puzzle, capturing the imagination of many who ponder the mysteries of time. 16. The immortal Vladimir Putin. The idea of immortality often feels like science fiction, yet conspiracy theories suggest Russian President Vladimir Putin might be an ageless enigma. Two historic photographs of Russian soldiers, one from 1920 and another from 1941, bear an uncanny resemblance to Putin. These striking similarities have fueled speculation that he could be a time traveler or even immortal. Supporters of this theory highlight Putin's seemingly youthful appearance, despite being over 70 years old, and his enigmatic rise to power. Some claim he has existed for centuries, pointing to alleged resemblances in portraits of historical figures like Vlad II of Wallachia, famously associated with the Dracula legend. Skeptics dismiss these claims as coincidences or digital manipulations, yet the photographs continue to ignite curiosity. Are these merely lookalikes? Or is there a deeper, supernatural explanation? While the scientific consensus refutes the idea of time travel or immortality, the mystery surrounding immortal Putin persists in popular culture. Whether fact or fiction, it is a story that underscores humanity's fascination with bending the rules of time and aging. 15. The Charlie Chaplin Cell Phone Mystery. In 2010, Irish filmmaker George Clark released footage of a behind-the-scenes clip from Charlie Chaplin's 1928 movie The Circus. What shocked viewers was a peculiar sight: a woman appearing to use a cell phone, a device that wouldn't be invented for decades. The clip shows an older woman walking through the scene, holding her hand up to her ear as if engaged in conversation. Her gestures resemble how we use cell phones today, and this sparked worldwide speculation. Was she a time traveler caught on film? Skeptics argue she might have been holding an early hearing aid or simply shielding her face from the camera. Yet the idea of her being from the future remains a tantalizing possibility. 14. The Philadelphia Experiment. In 1943, the U.S. Navy allegedly conducted a top-secret experiment designed to render the USS Eldridge invisible to radar. Some reports suggest the experiment went horribly wrong, not just making the ship invisible but causing it to travel through time. Witnesses claim that the ship vanished from Philadelphia and reappeared in Norfolk, Virginia, in a different time. The theory is that the ship was briefly caught in a time loop, with crew members experiencing strange distortions. Despite government denials, numerous conspiracy theories about the experiment continue to thrive, suggesting that this time travel incident could have been a government cover-up. 13. John Titor, the time traveler from 2036. In the early 2000s, a mysterious individual named John Titor claimed to be a time traveler from the year 2036. He posted on online forums describing advanced technology, future events, and even the fall of civilization. Titor's descriptions included personal accounts of his time machine, how it worked, and predictions about the future, such as a civil war in the United States. Although many dismissed his claims as hoaxes, some of his predictions have strikingly matched real-world events. Titor's enigmatic disappearance only fueled speculation that he might have truly come from another time. 12. The Time Traveler's Photograph in 1941. In 1941, a photograph was taken at the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in Gold Bridge, British Columbia. Among the crowd, there appears to be a man dressed in modern clothing, sporting sunglasses and a t-shirt, a fashion choice completely out of place for the time. Was this a time traveler from the future? The photograph remains one of the most perplexing visual anomalies, leading to widespread debate and theories about time travel. Could this person have traveled back to witness the event or even been accidentally caught in time? 11. The Man Who Disappeared in Time, 1851. One of the earliest documented instances of time travel is the story of a man who vanished without a trace in 1851. He was reportedly walking along a street in London when he suddenly vanished, only to reappear years later in the same location. However, it was 1950, not 1851. He seemed to have aged not a day, though his confusion suggested he had been transported through time. This bizarre case remains one of the earliest public mysteries linked to time travel, despite no clear explanation. 10. The Time Traveler of Tohoku. In 2007, a Japanese man named Tohoku claimed to have experienced time travel when he entered a small town in Japan that appeared unchanged for decades. Tohoku described walking into a street that was eerily frozen in time. People were stuck in repetitive movements, and the environment was unchanged. When he returned to the same street years later, everything had changed, and no one remembered the strange events. Was he experiencing a glitch in the fabric of time? Or was this simply a vivid dream? The case remains unsolved. 9. The Vanishing Man of 1943. During World War II, a British man reported traveling from London to Paris via train. However, upon arriving in Paris, he discovered that the city had not only changed dramatically but was also in a different time period. People were speaking a language unfamiliar to him, and the technology was vastly different. He tried to retrace his journey but could not find the way back. Years later, a similar story emerged from an American traveler who described experiencing the same time shift. Are these individuals victims of time slips? 8. The mysterious time traveler's watch. A mysterious story emerged in the early 1990s when a man named Andrew MacDonald claimed to have purchased an old pocket watch at an antique shop in London. Upon winding the watch, he said he was transported back to the Victorian era. Though skeptical of his own experiences, MacDonald reported encountering strange individuals in period-appropriate clothing, who acted as though he was a time traveler. When he returned to the present, the watch was gone, and so was the experience. Was this simply an elaborate hoax? Or was he really involved in a time travel accident? 7. The time traveler at the 1920s baseball game. In 1928, an audience member at a baseball game in New York snapped a photo that seemed to show a man dressed in a modern 21st century outfit, complete with a t-shirt, sunglasses, and a digital camera. The image, which surfaced years later, has sparked countless debates about time travel. Was the man in the crowd truly from the future? Or was the photograph merely a trick of the camera, with a person who had a strikingly similar appearance to modern-day fashion? Regardless, the photo remains one of the most famous time travel-related images. 6. The Taos hum and time distortions. The Taos hum is a mysterious low-frequency sound heard by some residents of Taos, New Mexico. Some individuals report hearing the hum, while others do not. In 1993, one resident claimed that the sound was associated with a strange time distortion. Whenever the hum occurred, people in the area experienced time slippage, where they felt they were in an altered dimension. Is the Taos hum a physical phenomenon, or is it a manifestation of a time travel anomaly? 5. The mysterious case of Andrew Byago. Andrew Byago has been an advocate for the idea that the U.S. government has conducted time travel experiments. He claims that, as a child, he was part of a secret program known as Project Pegasus, which involved teleporting individuals to different points in history. Byago alleges that he was sent back to the year 1863 to witness the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. His accounts, though dismissed by many, have stirred interest in the possibility that time travel is not only real but used by governments for espionage purposes. 4. The Montauk Project. The Montauk Project is a well-known conspiracy theory that suggests the U.S. government ran secret experiments in time travel at Camp Hero in Long Island, New York. Allegedly, experiments in psychic warfare, time travel, and mind control were conducted. The stories include testimonies from people claiming to have witnessed bizarre phenomena, including teleportation and time warps. While no official evidence exists, the Montauk Project remains one of the most widely discussed mysteries in time travel lore. 3. The Back to the Future Time Traveler Incident. In 1983, a man was seen walking into a gas station in Oklahoma. He was wearing clothes from the 1950s, though it was the early 1980s. When he interacted with the employees, he referred to things that hadn't yet been invented and made predictions about the future that seemed eerily accurate. Some believe he was a time traveler who had accidentally slipped into the wrong time period. Others suggest he was simply a man suffering from a mental break. The story continues to intrigue those fascinated by the idea of time travel. 2. The Time Traveler from the Past in the Subway. In 2009, a man in New York City was filmed on a subway. However, upon closer inspection, the man appeared to be wearing clothing that was outdated for the time, almost as though he was from a different era. The video went viral, with viewers speculating that the man might have somehow traveled from the past. Was this just an eccentric individual, or was he a time traveler from an earlier period who was trapped in the present day? Theories about his identity and origins continue to circulate. 1. The mysterious time traveler in the 1920s photograph. One of the most perplexing time travel stories comes from a photograph taken in 1928. The photo, which shows a crowd gathered around a street vendor, appears to capture a man holding a camera and wearing sunglasses, items that wouldn't be invented until much later. The image has led many to speculate that the individual in the photo was a time traveler who had somehow slipped into the past. Despite explanations ranging from digital manipulation to mistaken identity, this image remains one of the most iconic pieces of supposed evidence for time travel.